What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and YouTube has responded to a variety of issues, the COPPA things, as well as how YouTube is rating gaming content. Because if you're playing a game like Call of Duty, if you remember, I think this was around the leak around P-score. We were looking at that, how channels had P-scores and individual videos did, and there was a lot of talk around whether or not if you were playing a game like Call of Duty, how YouTube viewed that versus a game like Super Mario Brothers, and how the in-game activities compared to real life, YouTube was being very, very punitive if you were playing a game like Call of Duty versus a game like maybe Super Mario Brothers. Even though video games are not real life, I know that might be shocking. I just wanted to take a quick second to talk about a product I've been using recently that offered to sponsor this video. Dashlane. Dashlane is a cross-platform password manager and digital identity application that makes it easy to manage everything. They autofill all your personal info like addresses, credit cards, and passwords. They also generate super secure passwords, plus all the passwords that you do store with them are encrypted, making their password manager the safest place to store your info. Dashlane can be your one-stop shop for your digital identity by managing all of your passwords so you don't have to keep track of each one, your personal info and financials, making your digital life safe and more secure. Dashlane works across all devices, including Apple products, PC, Android, Safari, and Chrome. Give it a try free on your first device. Head to dashlane.com/quartering. And also, what's going on? I want to give a shout out to the Dead Upload Day movement. This is a YouTube kind of grassroots strike back effort. New FTC Commission regulations could massively affect YouTube creators who make videos aimed at children. YouTubers are fighting back with the regulations with Dead Upload Day, a day where nobody uploads anything to the platform. In January, new FTC regulations surrounding the Children's Online Privacy Act will go into effect. COPPA already forbids platforms collecting data on users who are younger than 13 without parents' permission. But thanks to the new regulations, YouTube won't allow creators to post kids' content with personalized ads. In other words, ads for kids that are targeted to viewers based on past usage of Google are no longer allowed, which is almost certainly eat into YouTubers' capability to earn revenue. Kids' videos will still get non-personalized ads, but in a test done by TubeFilter, this is my additional information, the revenue would drop as much as 90%. And what this article isn't properly representing is the fact that YouTubers still feel like we don't really understand what the rules are. More information is coming out, like the whole $42,000 fine thing was provided further context that it would be a percentage of what that video earned. The FTC still talks about targeting individual creators. And if you're going to do that, I think the FTC needs to do a much better job at explaining to us the types of things that we can do to make sure that they see our videos the way we do. What I'm saying is, even if you check, for example, my video is not for kids, but kids see it anyway, and the FTC looks at your video and they're like, yo, this is targeted towards kids. And you can say, well, I don't think it is. I never intended that. You end up with this situation where they're trying to ascribe a perhaps significant fine to you based on their determination of what your intentions were. This is the single most terrifying part about it. Look, if you give me a clear set of rules, that's one thing. But there's also a gigantic gray area, not just how the FTC will identify our content, but how individual creators are fighting back against it. You see a lot of people with content that is clearly not for kids. We saw PewDiePie covering this. You know, doll channels where you're like making modifications to a doll. That's not for an 8-year-old. These are like collectors, you know, all different types of science channels. You know, science is universal. It's appealing to everybody. I hope that it's appealing to younger and younger people. But how do I say who my video is targeted towards? And what's happening is you're getting a double whammy, essentially, because You're trying to understand what the FTC and COPPA want you to do, but also YouTube is preemptively labeling videos and changing their monetization status based on their target, and they're doing it with a low degree of accuracy. And huge channels are just being demolished by this. With the changes, YouTube won't allow comments, likes, dislikes on videos for kids. As YouTube explains, viewers will have minimum engagement options with made for content on YouTube.com. You know what I don't understand is why not just like make this the rule for the YouTube Kids app? I'm assuming it's something like this is already in place, because these are people that are self-identifying as, you know, hey, I'm a kid, or I'm a parent that, you know, this is an app that I'm installing so my kid can watch kid content while I drink wine in the middle of the day. This is the problem because, you know, if bad parenting exists and they're not, you know, and their kids are unsupervised for a large amount of times and they have unfettered access to YouTube, you know, again, how is this the content creator's fault? You know, it's like, oh, I have an R-rated movie that some kid bought from the Walmart discount bin. Are people going to sue Walmart? It doesn't work that way. That's a big deal for creators because comments and likes add to engagement factor of a video that could help it grow viewership and thus add revenue. The new policy stems from the fine they had. As YouTube wrote, ultimately, you know your audience best and will rely on you to designate in studio your videos are made for kids. If a creator attempts to avoid categorizing their content correctly, there may be consequences on the YouTube platform for that creator. Strikes, I imagine. These consequences could be a punishment from YouTube or monetary fines from the FTC. Upset YouTubers are spreading the hashtag #DeadUploadDay, which urges video creators not to post any new content on November 26th to protest the new FTC YouTube regulations. The hashtag is basically a call to action for YouTubers to do nothing next Tuesday. Began trending earlier this week. And there are a lot of people, talking about this. You've got Keemstar. You've got a lot of other people here associated. You know, I don't know how I feel about this because essentially you're asking content creators to forego income for a day. I mean, who's really winning there? But I do support the movement. So in terms of whether or not I will take part in it, I'm not convinced yet what I want to do, but I do support those that will, and I stand with you. Maybe using that day to organize and make a coherent case for more clear rules for YouTube through COPPA might be a better use. You know, if everybody produced COPPA videos that day, and maybe that would be more effective. But I don't know. I do support people getting together and doing something. It's always better than doing nothing. Now, YouTube has responded as of this morning. In YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki's quarterly letter released today, the executive addresses a number of changes to YouTube policies, including the FTC mandated rules for kids content, and that will alternatively confused and infuriated video creators, as well as forthcoming policies around gaming videos and other things. On the latter, Wojcicki said the company is now in a process of developing new harassment policy. Great. Yeah. Eventually, we already know that you basically can't make videos about other creators. And given YouTube's obsession with being the new TV, we're not going to be able to roast public figures anymore because everybody's just a YouTuber now. YouTube also responded to creator concerns over policies around gaming videos that include bad behavior, we'll say. We've heard loud and clear that our policies need to differentiate between real-world bad activities and gaming bad activities, Wojcicki said. We have had a policy update coming soon that will do just that. This is good news. This is some good news for gaming YouTubers. And you can't just always gripe. I mean, I think this is good. I mean, I don't necessarily produce gaming content. I cover gaming as a part of my more general commentary, but I'm happy for my fellow gaming YouTubers. This is probably a big part of their push to become a more popular streaming platform. And to be honest with you, I still prefer streaming on YouTube over anywhere else. If I'm going to stream somewhere else exclusively, it would be DLive. We've had a policy company. The new policy will have fewer restrictions in naughty behavior in gaming, but maintain our high bar to protect the audience from real-world things. This is great. The This topic was recently discussed at YouTube's Gaming Creators Summit. So they are listening to us, of course. Now, onto the COPPA. We already know the history of it. Creators will lose out a key number of YouTube features. The Verge recently reported, including click-through info cards, end screens, notification functions, and the community tab. YouTube creators say they don't have enough clarity around where to draw the line between content that's made for kids and content that may attract kids. That's a great way to put it. For example, family vlog channels and some gaming videos may appeal to kids and adults alike. And if the FTC decides the creator is in violation, they can be held liable for future COPPA violations. Now that YouTube's new policy and content labeling system is in place, YouTube's advice to creators on how to proceed: consult a lawyer, it has said. I mean, I feel so angered by the fact that YouTube is just, this is your problem. Hey, we paid our giant fine. This is a you problem. You should be giving your creators way more tools, and you should be working actively with the FTC and the COPPA people to make sure that we have a clear set of rules, check marks, so that we know exactly whether or not our video may be deemed by them, because it's not about whether or not I think my video is for kids. It's whether or not they think it is, which is disturbing. But you need to give me a clear guideline set of rules. Like, what if I put a disclaimer in the front of every video that says, hey, if you're a kid, click away from this video? Is that enough? What if I start out every video with an expletive-laden rant? Is that enough? I mean, just give me some guidelines to follow, and most people will be able to do it. It's the ambiguity that's frustrating. For example, I'll hit that. In today's letter, Wojcicki acknowledges the fallout from these changes, but doesn't offer any further clarity, only promises of updates to come. Well, the clock is ticking. We have a month. She also points to a long thread of YouTube community forum where many questions about the system are being answered, like the policy's reach, what's changing, and how when to mark content for kids and not being for kids. Here's some advice here, YouTube. Create a splash page, like a single landing page, like coppacompliant.com or something like that, and have everything we need to know on that one page. It is on you, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, to help us here. We need to know. It's not going to be a good look for YouTube when you have individual content creators getting sued by the government because they think their videos for kids. It's not going to be good for the creators. This is where we need you, the person that takes 95 cents out of every dollar that content creators make, to do something to help us. Not to tell us to go contact a lawyer, not to leave us in the dark, but to genuinely activate a team internally to give us an excellent, in-depth, specific set of guidelines to follow. And if you can't do that, then COPPA has to go, that it must be reworded. Because if even the platform where we produce our videos and upload them can't tell us what's good and what's not, that is a major, major problem. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please continue to spread the word to keep the pressure up on YouTube, and we'll talk to you again real soon.